Imagine standing before a massive, empty canvas. It's silent, white, and intimidating. This is the blank page. Every composer, from the film scorer to the bedroom producer, has stood here. You could just throw paint at it and hope for the best, but if you want to take your listener on a journey, you need a blueprint. Having a plan isn't about following strict rules, it's about having a destination. In music, your ultimate guide is your own aesthetic sense. A plan is simply a set of creative boundaries that sets you free to experiment without getting lost in the woods. Before you write a single note, you have to identify the vibe. Is this a high-speed chase or a lonely walk in the rain? Once you know the story, you can choose your tools. So the first one, the timbre. If your story is about aggression, don't just play louder, give your sound a spiky costume. Use distortion to make a synth growl or degrade the signal so it feels old and crumbling. Think of your song like a house. Where is the front door? The intro. Which room is the heart of the home where the family gathers? The main theme. Mapping these rooms early tells you exactly where to place the furniture. The intensity. Every great story needs tension and release. We use transitions, the bridges that connect your quiet verses to your explosive anthems, to decide if we will build energy slowly or drop the listener off a cliff. And melody. Think of your melody as a dialogue. One instrument asks a question, another provides the answer. Is it a long, poetic sentence or a quick back-and-forth chat? To see theory in action, let's translate a single image into a symphonic poem, a film score for a movie that only exists in your mind. To tell this story, we assign voices to our characters. So we have the hero, the owl, represented by the woodwinds. They are light, agile, and crucially vulnerable against the elements. The villain is the forest, the heavy brass, loud, metallic, and imposing. And then we have magic, the Celesta, those bell-like Harry Potter tones and the sparkle of the unknown. The air grows cold. To capture the shivering fear of the dark woods, the string brings a tremolo, a nervous, shaky vibration. Beneath them, the giants of the orchestra, double basses and cellos, march through the mud. They move in perfect fifths, a sturdy, hollow interval that sounds like a brave heart in a dangerous place. Our hero's theme emerges on the English horn, lonely and soul-searching, but the woods are watching. Muted brass instruments snarl from the shadows like hidden predators. We use dissonant clusters, notes that clash and rub against each other to show that the forest and the owl are at war. Suddenly, the texture lightens. High violins and the bell-like celesta create a trail of musical stardust, representing the magic of flight. The woodwinds flutter like wings. Just as the tension peaks, a soaring line from the violins carries us upward toward the coming storm. The ground shakes, tribal percussion erupts, setting the pulse for the ambush. The heartbeat begins to race. The woodwinds and brass scream at each other in different scales, like two enemies speaking different languages. The meter jumps and skips. These offbeat stabs represent the owl twisting, diving and dodging through the thick branches. Finally, a sudden run of notes signals a narrow escape into the open sky. The noise fades. The owl finds a clearing. We see the moon reflecting on a still lake. To paint this in sound, I use the chimes tree and harp arpeggios, sparkling liquid sounds that ripple like water. The harsh, clashing chords melt into soft, stable harmonies. The hero finally breathes. The hero's theme returns, but the darkness is gone. The chords are now solid and comforting, and the orchestra begins a slow build, like a sunrise warming the feathers of our traveler. The theme reaches its full glory, no longer a lonely horn, but a grand statement of strength as the owl prepares for the next horizon. The finish line. The low strings pulse with urgency while the high strings spin fast, circling patterns that feel like wind rushing past our ears at 100 miles per hour. So the story concludes on a high shimmering note, a musical to be continued. Now experience the entire journey from start to finish. This Odyssey was just one path. If you ignored the owl and focused on the ancient shadows of the trees, your blueprint would shift to distorted synths and bone-dry percussion, let's say. Music isn't just a collection of notes, it is a response to the world, your response. Find the vibe, cast your characters, and start building. Your canvas is no longer blank, it's only waiting for your sounds. Thank you for watching, and until next time.